Oilers, you got a great offense with Connor McDavid. So I have them sweeping them.
Yeah, well, I don't think you heard my point. The San Francisco Giants have 3 more in the 2010s than the Rangers have in their entire history. So, yeah.
It's hard to get back and to get back-to-back wins, and I don't see the Lightning doing it here, so I have them losing to the Hurricanes in 6.
We don't talk about the 2010s because the 2010s had the Astros, and if the Astros didn't happen, the Yankees would have won in 2017 with the Dodgers.
He was close to Frank Reich, and they want Frank Reich back, so that's what they got. It's their discount Frank Reich.
Kaprizov and the rest of this crew, Jordan Greenway, who doesn't get enough props. He definitely is somebody who needs to be mentioned more.
Hi, this is Julie Dobbs. You're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. Just a few weeks ago, we were talking about the Grizzlies firing their coach and just how that did not make sense before the playoffs. But the Nuggets won up that, Austin. This is pretty shocking. But they cleaned house. But there's no other news. So it's not like crazy scandal.
Why do it now?
Exactly.
I don't. The timing is very weird. And I don't really understand. What is another month?
Exactly.
Not to mention, I think it's horrible even if you wait another month because this guy just won a championship for you a couple of years ago. Unless the only thing that I could say is that if Jokic had said something and it was like, hey, look, it's either those two or me. Like I'm at that point. If he had said that, then they made the right choice. But anything less than that, I feel like it's too early and also terrible timing. Not just like I think it's too early if you fire them after the season, but I think it's terrible timing as well because the playoffs are about to be around the corner and they could be the 3 seed, Kevin.
Yeah, like they weren't. And the thing that's weird to me is I was like, I feel like Michael Malone is one of the better coaches. And just kind of like his teams are pretty competitive. Yes, it does help that you have Jokic, but nothing really bad there. And to me, the thing that was surprising is I texted a friend who's a Nuggets fan. And he's like, yeah, we need to shake things up. I was like, okay, interesting. But he agreed bad timing. But overall, I'm pretty shocked. And yeah, like they haven't been on a losing stretch either. And they could be the 3 seed. They're currently at the 4 seed. But yeah, this just doesn't make sense. And we talked about like how you could fall to a 7th seed. In our play-in video. If you're putting a guy into this stretch, they're only half a game out of having to play in the play-in, and that's a lot of pressure on a coach. And Michael Malone was just so experienced. So yeah, really not the most shocking move in the NBA this season, but pretty shocking from a coaching perspective.
Extremely shocking from a coaching perspective. And I just don't get it. I can't really think of a good reason unless Jokic said something. And in which case, okay, if the option is getting rid of the GM and head coach and keeping Jokic or getting rid of Jokic and keeping them, then yeah, okay, you made the right choice in that respect. But it's been a very weird year for front offices in the NBA this year, from not just the Mavs and Lakers ordeal, but also, like you said, with the Grizzlies and now the Nuggets. I will say the Grizzlies a little bit more weird just because the GM stayed. So I think because they're cleaning house, it's because they realized that, hey, there's a bigger issue. I did think that the GM for the Nuggets needed to make more moves this past offseason, yada, yada, yada. But they're understanding it's not Michael Malone's fault. It's kind of a systematic issue. But I still think it's too early for even the GM to get fired again because he was there during the year that they wanted. So I don't really understand the move, but I mean, it's done now.
Yeah. What you say is if Jokic goes to him and it's like, hey, them or me, absolutely, you choose Jokic at 100. You always side with your star. Basically, every front office knows that. And it's surprising that Nico Harrison and that front office still has a job, given just the way that things are. But yeah, really shocking. And it is pretty surprising. There is that stat coming out, only out of the last 6 teams to win a championship, only 2 have the same coaches, which I think would be, trying to think who it would be. Well, I guess Steve Kerr and Joe Mazzulla are the only 2, because you have Frank Vogel with the Lakers fired, Mike Budenholzer with the Bucks fired, Michael Malone. It's just really shocking how there really isn't much leeway given for a coach that's won a championship as recently as the Nuggets. And I don't understand the huge shakeup, because they're still a good team. I don't think, are they one of the best? No, but still pretty good. So it is just shocking that it happens with, there are only a few games left in the regular season. And I think you would want an experienced coach, given that where you are in the play-in and just how difficult the West is. There is not a learning curve, especially right now.
I just don't get it. They're 4th in the West. They could be 3rd in the West. I just don't get it. There's no other way for me to say it. I feel much more speechless about it, because, again, it's a coach that just won a championship. And I have seen stuff online right now, like, why are NBA ratings down? It's because, like, they keep firing coaches for no reason, because I thought the same thing about Budenholzer. But when he was fired with the Bucks after winning a championship with them. But the only 2 coaches that are left in the last 6 years, I think it is, that have won or that have won a title are last year Joe Mazzulla and then Steve Kerr in 2022. And Steve Kerr's won 4. So if you fire Steve Kerr after being a couple years out, it seems a little bit more drastic, right? But I don't know what the plan is. I will have to see. I know the title of the video is "What is the plan for the Nuggets?" I hope they know, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's really tough, because how do you get better from Malone? I can understand, you can make arguments for the GM, but I really don't understand what better coach there is. I'm a huge fan of Budenholzer, but I also like Malone. Like, who else is there?
Well, Budenholzer's now with the Suns.
Well, yeah, so, but I'm wondering if
the only guys I can think of that are open are Monty Williams, who just got fired after having one of the worst seasons with the Pistons, even though he was good with the Suns and led them to a NBA Finals appearance. Yeah. There's Stan Van Gundy. I just can't think of really, really good options. I really do hope, and there's no proof of this, I have no proof of this, that they had a plan before firing. It wasn't a reaction. It was, okay, we have a plan. This is how we're going to execute it, more than, I don't like you today, for some reason you're gone.
Yeah, I think there has to be a plan of just like, hey, we're cleaning house and we're heading into a different direction. But to me, it's just like, this is a pretty good direction. You're in the playoffs. And you keep rebuilding your team. Like, of course, it didn't hit on draft picks. Like we talked about Christian Brown, Peyton Watson. I know you're a big fan of him, and just like, these guys need to step up. So I can understand from the drafting perspective, but from a coaching perspective, it's more of a roster. So very shocking, and I just want to know what direction it is, but we won't know till they sign people and just kind of how that goes, and then we'll react to that. But that's all I really have. I'll let you close this one out, Austin.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please let us know what you guys think about the firing, what you guys think the Nuggets will do in the future, and anything else.